Here we go. So let's have a running back debate because you guys paid Dalvin Cook. You've got Joe Mixon. So let's talk about this because it is an interesting debate, and we'll start with that. So here's the thing with Barkley. Again, he suffers the injury, and that's the huge thing here. He's not the same running back since the injury. 10 attempts for 26 yards against Denver. Okay, Denver's a really good defense, and they were down, so they're trying to throw back into it. 13 attempts, 57 yards against a lesser defense compared to year-over-year Washington football team, and he did have one for 41 yards. So at one point, he was literally 12 attempts for 16 yards. Like he's good for maybe breaking through the defense once, but other than that, there's just so many 1-yard stuffs, 2-yard stuffs. Most recently against Atlanta, 16 for 51. He had a 15-yard rush. That's basically 2 yards per carry, 15 attempts, 36 yards. So am I crazy? Was I too harsh on the homie Saquon? Let's go to Johnny Unitas, Al Dalton.
I don't think you're too harsh. The numbers kind of speak for themselves. I think you're right. Post-injury, he has not been the same. Before the injury, he looked like he was going to be the future of the NFL.
Yeah, again, I maybe was underestimating what he did in his first 2 years, but again, the injury is the key clarification there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he just hasn't been the same. And as far as fantasy relevance, and even put fantasy aside, just top tier running back, I wouldn't even put him in that top tier anymore. He's kind of middle of the pack.
That's what I'm saying. But let's talk so that's my thing is I wouldn't even touch a running back. Joe Mixon was a high round guy. That's who you have. And he's put up solid numbers, Kirill. But, would you, when it comes time to say, hey, pay him or let him walk, are you willing to shell out that money? Or are you willing to check in a guy like Samaje Perine and see if he can get it done?
I'm a giant advocate for not paying running backs. He was a second-round pick, and I would never touch a running back in the first because that fifth-year extension, that's where you, get a tackle in the first round, a receiver, someone who gets, the next contract is a lot of money. Your running back's contract, it's not supposed to be that much. Mix got paid last offseason. It wasn't that good. He's one of the highest paid, and then he missed all of last season basically, right, too. So he's a second rushing right now in the NFL, but at the same time, running backs – a 21-year-old can come out of nowhere, and a third-round running back is going to be a stud like Kamara. He was a mid-round pick, became a stud.
Great point. And let's go to Tyler Dalton's Vikings because Dalvin Cook's interesting. The only guy I would pay is because he is a freak. It's Derrick Henry. that guy runs like a cheetah, and he's built like a fucking mound of granite. Cook's got the numbers. I was looking at it. I feel like he gets injured, but then he did play 14 games the last 2 years. So maybe I'm just looking at something different there. But look at the guy behind him, Madison. They win behind Madison getting the start because Cook's injured. And that's a dude that could start on a majority of NFL rosters. Again, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Madison and Cook are very similar, and I'm not talking just about their hairstyle. I think both of them are very effective in the pass game, obviously, as well in the rush game as well. Dalvin's a little bit more thicker, I would say. He's got a little bit more meat on his bones, but Madison can break tackles for his size, and he just absolutely cut up the Seahawks defense like a bunch of menches, to be honest.
Great point. Okay, let's get to trivia because I thought about it too. What Super Bowl winners over the last decade have been doing it at running back? Could you answer me that? The Chiefs won with Damian Williams, for Christ's sake. And then when they finally burn a first-round pick on Edwards-Helaire, now they don't look like the same team. I know they just went to the Super Bowl, but what if you just put that on defense and had a guy like, Parsons, who we'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys Monday Night Football win in a little bit. But that's my question to you, Al. And then I've got a trivia question. When is the last time a Super Bowl MVP went to a running back? Anyone?
I'm thinking here.
It's over 2 decades.
Okay.
23 freaking years.
Me, man.
Terrell Davis
in Super Bowl 33. But that just goes to show you. I think in the last decade, the teams that weren't built around a running back, which you could argue is what the Giants did when they went with Barkley. So again, Kirill, it's I guess Marshawn Lynch might have been the only guy, but that wasn't even his first team with the Seahawks, and it was basically Russell Wilson's team.
They didn't give it to him at the one the next year either. They didn't trust him enough. So
who knows? Okay, well, let's talk about Monday Night Football and the Cowboys in that same division for a second. They look great with Dak coming back. Zeke's another guy who I was, I'd be close to paying. I didn't think he was going to have a big game, and he made me eat crow, which, again, we'll see how Saquon does this weekend against New Orleans. And I'll gladly eat crow if he has a huge game.